is where you make it, and luckily for Razorback fans, several kids deciding home is exactly where they want to play college basketball. Welcome to our Homegrown Hogs special. I'm Hayden Balgavy.
And I'm Taylor McGregor. Yes, 6 of the current Razorbacks hailing from the natural state, but none of them having played a bigger role in the Razorbacks' early season success than Daryl Macon, a kid who went from being a skinny little kid at Parkview to now being one of the leaders of the fastest 40.
Yeah, well, Daryl, he was so small when he first came to Parkview, man. When I put him in the game, he looked like a little third grader. People would laugh. And then he'd turn around and hit a 35-footer, and they shut up. But Daryl, probably one of the best shooters around. One of the best shooters probably that come through Parkview.
When Daryl Macon began as a Patriot, he was undersized and underrated, a narrative that would only last so long. During his high school career, he averaged 21 points a game and shot over 40% from three. The stats of an SEC baller.
We feel overlooked. That's the only thing I got to say about it.
Out of high school, Macon had his eyes on playing Arkansas hoops. But when he failed to qualify, he landed at Holmes Community College in Mississippi. And it was there that he proved his skills and his grades were ready for the SEC.
Going to JUCO really humbled me, made me get back on track, made me start working hard, and now I'm here. This is where I've always wanted to be.
After being named the Region 23 Player of the Year twice, Macon made an immediate impact on the Hill. As a junior, he finished second on the team in scoring, averaging 15 points a game, and was one of 3 Little Rock guys on the roster.
And like I say, they all love their state. They love Arkansas. They love the Razorback.
Macon and the Hogs proved their worth by battling with North Carolina in the round of 32 last season. It was a game they almost won, but when they lost, Macon was faced with a tough decision. Should he return for his senior season or declare for the NBA draft? In the end, he decided to return to Fayetteville.
He made the best decision, and I think he'll take those guys to the playoff again.
Macon is second on the team in points, averaging over 14 a game. He's also bringing down 2 rebounds and nearly 4 assists per contest.
Macon, a senior who can score points and has leadership, but it's not all about scoring points, especially when you look at Anton Beard. Now, Anton went back home to North Little Rock for his senior season of high school basketball. Then he signed with the Hogs, but his road in Fayetteville has been anything but easy. Anton Beard is the epitome of a floor general.
But he's doing exactly now what Coach Anderson recruited him there to do.
Feed the rock and run the floor.
He's gotten great at telling people what to do.
You can trace that leadership back here, right where it all started, his hometown of North Little Rock.
You're a product of your environment, that may be a better way to say it. And around here, basketball, you're known to be tough or you'll get swallowed up.
We actually have to prove ourselves all the time because anywhere we're playing as an Arkansas Razorback, you get a lot of people want to bully you, and it doesn't turn out that way.
It's been well documented things did not go Anton's way his sophomore season in Fayetteville following his arrest on forgery charges in 2015.
It's just one of those things that young students or kids go through, and for him to say, "Mama, I'm going to go back to school and continue," and I said, "Oh my God, that is awesome." I want him to do that, but at the same time, he's old enough to where he needs to make his decision.
He accepted his consequences and attacked them head on, and just like he does on the basketball court, and really has overcome those things to finish his career off on a very bright note so far.
For the final time as a Razorback, Anton will take the floor in his hometown Saturday night.
We're fighters. Little Rock is fighters. North Little Rock, this whole state is about fighting for what we want.
Yeah, Yeah, Beard has had such a big impact on the young guys as well, one of who they call Day-Day. Darius Hall, a kid out of Mills who helped lead his team to a state championship last year. A
5A state championship. He looked great in that game, and now we're watching all those skills we saw at Mills translate to Fayetteville. With a last name of Hall, you'd think Darius would be a warrior, but he bleeds Mills green and yellow. Now he bleeds Razorback red.
Felt great, made me feel like I made a step forward in my life. At first I was taking baby steps, now I took a grown man step, and I'm on my way to college.
Defensively, I knew that he was a perfect kind of player for Mike because defensively, you know, he gets after it.
But Day-Day, as his high school coach Raymond Cooper likes to call him, he still has some work to do.
He's still learning how to play the college game, and there'll be greater days for him offensively. But right now, you know, Mike needs him to play defense and rebound, and that's what he's doing.
Coming off the bench is a new concept for Darius. He was Mr. Do-It-All at Mills, leading the Comets to a state championship over rival Parkview earlier this year and fellow Razorback Khalil Garland.
A competitive nature, but it's a good kind of competitive because, you know, the guys are friends off the court, but on the court, you know, they get after it.
Darius used that competitive nature to overcome tragedy following his father's death in 2009.
And he decided he was going to make it, and he wasn't going to allow the, you know, what he'd gone through to lead him in the wrong direction. He really made a decision that he was going to make it.
Hall has appeared in all 9 of the Razorbacks games this season, providing Mike Anderson's squad that lockdown defense that makes the fastest 40 run.
And he practices with energy and effort, and that's the kind of things that I think that nobody really knew about, because on the court he looks kind of wild and he's all over the place, but he's really a disciplined kid, and he really understands the game and has a high basketball IQ.
So Hall has emerged as one of those freshmen who come off the bench who looks great for Mike Anderson, but we all know who the freshman of the year has been so far this season.
Yeah, well, he's the reigning SEC Player of the Week, Daniel Gafford from El Dorado, Arkansas. He's a guy who's taken Bud Walton by absolute storm. Coming up after the break, we're going to hear about what makes this kid so unique.
Welcome back to our Homegrown Hogs special. Now 5 hours south of the University of Arkansas, that's where you find El Dorado.
And the only thing longer than that commute might be Daniel Gafford's wingspan. He's a 6'11 freshman who's not only taken the Hogs by storm, but also the entire SEC.
Daniel Gafford.
He's so athletic.
A 6'11 kid.
He got a high motor.
From El Dorado, Arkansas.
Every play you got to put a bite on. If you don't, he's going over the top. And he can run like a deer. And he's going to beat most centers up and down the floor. And I love that about him.
A freshman who, in high school, led the Wildcats to a 28-5 record and a trip to the 6A title game.
We played El Dorado twice last year, and, you know, and everybody was like, I want to guard Daniel, I want to guard Daniel.
Growing up in the basketball community makes a low-populated state that much smaller. As a member of the Arkansas Hawks, Daniel was AAU teammates with Darius Hall, who knows exactly how much potential Gafford holds.
He called me during workouts before they actually practicing, and he says, Daniel's a pro, coach. I don't know if Mike wants me saying that. But, you know, he was, you know, I saw it years ago. He was still learning to play, but the gifts that he has, only a few people in the world have.
Minnesota coach Richard Pitino said it best. Impressive. Against the 14th ranked Gophers, Gafford was perfect from the field, going 8 for 8 to complement his 7 rebounds and career-high 6 blocks.
He did all this in 21 minutes. That's efficient basketball.
He's the picture Arkansas is trying to paint as they become the feared fastest 40.
This is the kind of teams that Nolan had back in the 90s when the Razorbacks were rolling and ranked top in the country. And I'm not trying to put any pressure on them, but they have the athletes. You know, you see the chemistry coming back. You know, the game is fast-paced and up and down, so it's starting to look a little bit like that.
The sky is the limit for Gafford, who Hog fans hope is not one and done.
Now, he still has a big conference season to play. They haven't started SEC play yet. We had a little wager this week, so we actually got to go get on the court, play a little game of pig. The winner got to say why they would win the SEC or why they wouldn't win the SEC. You're going to want to check that out coming up next. Welcome back to Homegrown Hogs. Instead of playing a game of horse, we're going to play a game of pig in honor of the Razorbacks. Now, we're going to show the results at the bottom. Do you think the Hogs can win the SEC? You're going with?
I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to be optimistic here, or at least make my case as to why they should.
And I'm going to go with no. And the winner gets 30 seconds at the end to explain why they will win the SEC or why they won't win the SEC. Let's chop it up.
One-handed.
One-handed. All right. Two. It's like we're adding sass to it. Boom. Money. Here we go. I haven't played basketball since the 8th grade.
He's laughing at it.
That's a P. That's a P. Elbow. I may be in trouble. Oh, I'm down to PI. It's getting embarrassing. This is it. That's it. Okay. Here's your ball game. It looks great for the Hogs. She picked them to win the SEC. I picked them not to. This is for everything. Oh! Oh! Woo! I'm not done yet. This is it. If I don't make this layup, I can't talk, and I hate not to talk. No! By final count of PIG to P, I am a loser today. I picked the Hogs to lose the SEC. I'm a loser. You picked them to win. You get 30 seconds.
I picked them to win. All right, here we go. So returning Macon and Barford, huge guys to return after they went to the SEC Conference Championship last year. Ended up losing it, but I think with that seniority back, they'll be able to bring experience. And I also think just their depth. They have 5 guys shooting over 10 points. That's the most in the SEC, and I think anytime you have that many guys scoring buckets, it's hard to defend. Plus, we've been talking about chemistry, and I think that undeniably is the strongest point of Mike Anderson team that goes after the fastest 40. So let's see the Hogs make a deep run at it come March. That's what I'm going after.
Numbers don't lie, and neither do letters, and letters say I'm a loser. Or Homegrown Hogs after this.
P-I-G. Ooh. All right, here with Todd Day, Razorback legend and now the head coach here at Philanders. So a lot of people comparing this Razorback team up on the hill to the type of team you guys had in the early 90s with speed, athleticism, chemistry. What do you have to say about that?
I think it's returning to what we started back in the early 90s. They got great athletes down there, great players, and I think what's most important is they have the depth that they need to play that style of basketball that the Razorbacks are accustomed to.
Well, what do you think is the most important thing that Razorback teams must have to be successful in this conference and nationally?
Well, I think it starts with homegrown kids. I think, Lee Mayberry and myself and Oliver Miller, we were the stars, but we had guys who came off the bench from the Central Arkansas area who really gave us a lift and were able to carry the load when we weren't having good games. Ken Biley, Ernie Murray, those type of guys. So we just try to keep getting great talent away from around the other states, as well as keeping our homegrown guys together.
So let's talk about Coach Anderson a little bit. You played under him. He's kind of slept on a little bit in the SEC in terms of coaches. What do you think about the job he's doing up there on the hill?
I think he's doing a wonderful job. The one thing about Coach, he's not flamboyant. He's not going to make a lot of remarks, will bring a lot of attention to himself. So, he kind of flies under the radar, and he's always been that kind of coach. And I think the only way that, he'll get recognition is teams start doing better.
How would you describe what it was like being a Razorback?
It's exciting. It's exciting. The one thing that I enjoyed about it was they always cared about you. You know, if you were the #1 scorer on the team or if you were the number 13 guy on the team, we always got treated the same. We go into buildings where the fans are. Those guys signed just as many autographs as we did. And the one thing about the Razorback is wherever you go, there's somebody from Arkansas. So during my tenure in the NBA, during the warm-ups, you could hear 5 or 6 people calling the Hogs in the stands, and it was awesome.
Is there any advice that you wish somebody would have given to you in college that you would give to the young men who are playing college hoops right now?
I think the thing that I didn't take from being a Razorback was all the special people that you got to meet. You know, I was a kind of a stay to myself kind of guy in college, and you know, now that these guys are coming back into my life since I came back into the state, you know, I wish I would have kept in contact and built a better friendship while I was there.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Tomorrow night, the Razorbacks return to Verizon Arena, where they will have won 4 out of their last 5 trips to Little Rock.
I feel like it's going to be a great environment. Like he said, I heard the tickets are almost sold out, so it'll be an exciting game, I feel like.
Now, it's only once a year these guys get to come back home to the 501 and have their friends and family cheer them on.
Nah, it's going to be a good feeling, you know, be able to play in your hometown where most of us are from. You know, it's going to be a great crowd. Heard the tickets are almost sold out, so it's going to almost feel like a Bud Walton game.
For us, me and Ton, since we're from Little Rock, we of course want to go out on a bang, but at the same time, we got to play basketball at the end of the day. We just got to go out there and still play as a team. Just because we're back home, we can't go out there and try to play individual ball. We got to keep playing the way we've been playing.
So now these homegrown Hogs on a mission to bring an SEC title back to Arkansas.
And we just got to keep getting sharpened and keep working on every day to get better and just come out with a defensive mindset and come out with the win.
I think our ceiling is very high, but we can't look months ahead. We just got to stay focused right now. I mean, yeah, we're playing good as a team. We are winning by a large margin, but you know, you gotta stay humble and just keep working.
It's Arkansas versus Troy back tomorrow night in Dogtown.
We will see you then. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Homegrown Hogs, a THB 11 Hog Zone basketball special brought to you by Crane Automotive, Razorback Camper Sales, and Red Wing Shoes.